The moment you became easy to reach, you became easy to ignore. Constant availability dilutes your worth. When you are always accessible, people begin to treat your presence as a guarantee rather than a privilege. To be valued, you must become a scarce resource, not an open door. Protect your time fiercely, for the world only respects what comes at a premium. Every city has a restaurant nobody can get into, 3-month waitlist, no walk-ins, a phone line that stops answering by 9 in the morning because the whole month's already booked. People plan trips around getting a table there. They talk about it for weeks before and for months after. And 2 streets over, there's a diner that's open 24 hours, always has an empty booth, lights on at 3 a.m. for absolutely nobody, and no one's ever excited to go there, even on the nights the food is genuinely just as good, sometimes better. The difference was never really about the food. It was about the door. One of them makes people work to get in. The other one just lets them, any hour, any day, no effort required. And that ease is exactly why nobody remembers walking through it. That's precisely what happens to a person the moment they become permanently available. Reply within 30 seconds every single time. Free for every plan, every last-minute favor, every "Hey, you around?" text sent at 11 p.m. with 0 context attached. It feels generous in the moment. It feels like being a good friend, a good partner, a good employee, the kind of person who shows up. But somewhere along the way, without a single dramatic event marking the shift, availability quietly gets recoded as guarantee. And nobody plans around a guarantee. Nobody treats a guarantee like a privilege. They just assume it'll be there, the same way nobody feels grateful for oxygen until it's suddenly hard to get. There's a reason this works on people, and it isn't shallow or cruel. It's just how attention actually operates. The mind doesn't spend much energy tracking things it already has secured. It spends energy on what's uncertain, what requires effort, what might disappear if it's not attended to. That's not a flaw in people. It's the same wiring that made scarcity matter for survival long before anyone was worrying about text response times. What was always there didn't get guarded. What might run out did. Presence works the same way now. What's guaranteed gets ignored. What's uncertain gets attention. Nobody consciously decides this. It just quietly runs in the background of every relationship, every friendship, every professional interaction. Think about the friend who always says yes. Doesn't matter the timing, doesn't matter what else is going on. They'll cancel their own plans to make room for yours every single time because saying no feels like risking the friendship itself. For a while, everyone loves that about them. Convenient, dependable, the one you can always count on. And slowly, without anyone deciding it on purpose, that friend becomes the default option instead of the first choice. The one people fall back on when the person they actually wanted to see is busy, the safety net instead of the destination. Nobody's being cruel about it. They're just responding to the information available to them. And the information says this person is always here, so there's no urgency, no scarcity, nothing at stake in taking them for granted. And the hardest part is that the always yes friend rarely even notices the shift happening, because it never looks like rejection. It just looks like slowly getting invited later, thought of last, called only when the better plan fell through. Or think about the early stage of dating, someone who replies to everything instantly, agrees to every plan, clears their whole weekend around a single maybe. It reads as excitement in the first week. By the third week, it starts reading as something else entirely. A person with no other center of gravity, nothing else pulling at their time, nothing they'd have to rearrange to actually be there. And whether it's fair or not, people don't chase what isn't going anywhere. They chase what might not stay. A schedule that bends instantly around someone else's convenience is, without meaning to, broadcasting exactly how little else is competing for that attention. And that gets read, consciously or not, as a lack of value elsewhere in that person's life. This same pattern runs quietly through work, and it's often the most expensive version of it. Think about the employee who answers emails at midnight, who's always the one available on short notice, who never pushes back on scope creep because saying no feels like career risk. For a while, that person gets called reliable in every performance review. But notice what reliable quietly turns into over a few years. Not valuable, not essential, just available. The promotion, the raise, the actual respect in the room tends to go to the person whose boundaries are clear enough that their time gets treated as an actual cost on a budget somewhere. The one whose calendar isn't open by default, the one people have to schedule around instead of assuming will always flex. Being needed and being used start to look identical from the inside. The difference only shows up on the outside, in who gets protected when the cuts come and who gets taken for granted right up until the day they're not needed at all. Or think about anyone trying to build something and sell expertise for a living. A coach, a freelancer, a consultant, anyone whose actual product is their time and knowledge. The one who answers every free question in every comment section, who hops on a call with anyone who asks, who never charges for the quick 5 minutes that somehow happens 6 times a week, ends up exhausted and underpaid while people quietly assume the advice was never worth paying for in the first place, because it was never priced like it was. Meanwhile, the one who guards access, who makes people book a call, wait for a slot, actually value the exchange before it even happens, gets treated like an expert before they've said a single word. Not because the expertise is different, because the access to it was never free. Here's the part that stings if you actually sit with it. None of this was ever really about being harder to get for the sake of a game. It's about what constant availability quietly reveals underneath, that there's nothing else demanding your time. A calendar with no edges, no competing priorities, no version of you that has somewhere else to be, doesn't read as generous. It reads as empty. And people, whether they'd admit it out loud or not, calibrate their respect against exactly that signal, every time, without ever announcing they're doing it. Protecting your time isn't about punishing people or manufacturing distance to seem interesting. It isn't a manipulation tactic, and it isn't about becoming cold or unreachable to everyone who matters. It's closer to what that restaurant with the 3-month waitlist actually understands about itself. The food matters, obviously. None of this works without something real behind the door. But so does the fact that getting a table required something. A little effort, a little patience, proof that someone actually wanted it enough to wait. Strip that away, throw the doors open all day to everyone, and the exact same food, cooked by the exact same hands, in the exact same kitchen, stops feeling worth the trip. Nothing about the quality changed. Only the access did, and access was doing more of the work than anyone wanted to admit. This doesn't mean disappearing on the people who genuinely matter or turning presence into some cold transaction. It means understanding that your time was never an unlimited resource just because you were willing to hand it out like one. Every yes you give without a thought is a yes you're not giving to the version of your own life you're supposedly trying to build. Every night spent instantly available for someone who never once had to wonder if you would be, is a night not spent becoming someone with an actual center of gravity, the kind of person whose time genuinely does come at a cost because it's actually being spent on something that matters to them first. And there's a quieter shift that happens once you actually start protecting that time, one that has nothing to do with how other people treat you. You start treating yourself differently. It's hard to believe your own hours are valuable while handing them out to anyone who asks at any hour with zero friction. Scarcity isn't just a signal sent outward. It's a discipline that changes how you see your own worth from the inside, whether or not anyone else ever notices the difference. So close a few doors. Let a few texts sit for a while, not out of spite, but because you actually had a life happening when they came in. Let people wonder occasionally whether you're free, not because you're playing a game, but because you finally stopped treating your own hours like they were free for anyone who asked. Let the emails wait until morning. Let the free calls become paid ones. Let the friendships that only survive on your constant availability quietly recalibrate or quietly fade. Either way, you'll finally know which ones were actually about you and which ones were just about convenience. The door doesn't need a lock forever. It just needs to stop being propped open by default. Because the world was never going to respect what it could get anytime from anyone for nothing. It only ever respects what it had to earn a little. Build the wait list. Let them wait for the table. What's actually behind the door was never the problem. It never needed apologizing for. It just needed a door that occasionally stayed closed.